Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. The members who are attending are from my left here. I'll be all right. Frank Hollingsworth, Joel Bear, then to my right is Diane Tyson, Chris Kretchen, and we have Charles Thomas and Ralph Hutchinson, as well as Tara Hitchens. I guess, and then we have Brad Kaiser, I see are attending remotely here. If everyone can stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Has everyone read the minutes of the January meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Anyone have any comments or anything? Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
I'll second it. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Public concerns or comments?
We have nothing by chat. And I have no emails.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, we'll move on. Reports, recreation.
Well, I haven't heard anything back yet from baseball. You, Charlie, I sent them an email at the last meeting about if they have anything, if they're going to do the diamonds or what doing about the dugouts or anything like that.
I have not
Didn't hear a
received
word
any,
back.
nothing back yet. I talked with Troy today and he has not heard anything since the
Okay.
conversation.
I guess they're not doing that this year again. So.
I did received a phone call from the softball team that practice at Community Park, asking the availability, and every year I let them know if they want to definitely have it, they need to reserve a pavilion, but they can take a chance. They said it's weeknights between March and June. I told them that's their obligation, if whatever nights they want, if they want to guarantee it, but if it's rented and reserved, they've got to leave the field. So I haven't received any liability insurance from them yet.
Okay. Grounds, buildings, and trails.
The only thing I have to report is the Lancaster County Conservation District has contacted us, and they had some extra money from a grant they received for maintenance on some buffers. So Troy reached out to them to help with chemicals and some extra trees that we lost. It doesn't specifically say where, as long as it's in a buffer or a stream bank restoration. So for Gibbons Park and Flory Park, he was getting the Conservation District account. We don't know how much money, but he was going to get account and communicate with Matt Cothroth of the district.
Extra money is always good.
Yeah.
Which of
Anything else?
the parks are getting mulched this year? Any of them? Is there any mulching being done at the parks this year? Or?
Yes, and I don't have my list with me.
Okay. I think they only do them every couple of years, don't they? Don't they?
Yeah, it's every few years. We don't do it every year. That's correct.
Anything else?
That's all I had.
Okay. And I put, as you see, I put a report CD Regional Recreation Program updates as a agenda item. I hope that's okay. Let us know if you have anything.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to keep it as an agenda item, Jim. I continue to do that. We're supposed to be meeting monthly now throughout the process. Diane wasn't able to attend the last meeting, so Tara and I were there. This last one was held over at Upper Lake Cox Building. I thought it was a good meeting. We started talking about the consultant had sent us all sample agreements from different areas that had sort of similar entities created. So we started reviewing those and talking about the different ways that they approached their agreements. That conversation has to continue. There's a lot to process there and to figure out. So we'll continue through that. I did just hear yesterday, I think it was, that the husband and wife that were attending from Upper Laycock have now bowed out. They don't have the time to participate apparently. So I got a subsequent email that the township manager found another volunteer to participate. So she'll be there for the meeting in March. I also got an email from Phyllis at the school district. One of the school board members is going to now start to attend as well. So having their participation, I think, is going to be worthwhile.
That's good. That's good. And none of the possible plans jumped out at you as being.
There were pros and cons to all of them, I think.
Okay.
And some that I think were closer to the mark for me than others, but nothing that was, first read was, oh, this is perfect. There was nothing like that.
Just do it, search and replace, and
Yeah,
it'll be nothing
like
that easy.
No,
It'll be like one from column A and one from column B, and I think that's how it will end up
Jeez.
going.
Yeah, well, that's how it goes, I guess, right? Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Good. Thanks for bringing us up to speed on that. Anything else in the reports? Anybody else have anything they want to mention?
I did forget one thing. Troy did advise me that the playground equipment, the 3 pieces that were voted on last month have been ordered.
Oh, good.
I'm not sure delivery date yet, but they have been ordered.
Good. Any old business?
I guess somebody had, I don't know if it was Charlie had sent us the list of websites for playground equipment. And I've looked over them. I definitely think we should consider putting swings in at Flory because we don't have swings really anywhere anymore except for the 2 little tot swings up at Community. So I definitely think that that should be one. I don't know if there's a separate piece of ground that'll have to be. I know, I think Charlie, you had mentioned last month that Troy said, depending on what we want, there might have to be some other excavating or whatever.
Yeah, enlargement. Yep.
So I would strongly recommend that we put in at least a, regular swing set that we used to have up at Community, but we don't anymore. The other thing I think we should consider is, I guess they're calling them all-inclusive equipment, which, would be for handicap, or just, people with disabilities. And I'm wondering if we could, I'm looking at through the catalogs, some of them are very pricey, again, because it's all-inclusive. I'm wondering if it would be worth asking like Clark Foundation, since they have the pavilion there, if they would consider donating a piece of, of all-inclusive equipment. If they can't do it this year, maybe put it in their budget for next year. If we could identify something and maybe stretch our resources that way, or, and maybe not even just Clark, but Clark and High and whoever else we could, potentially, Rotary, I think, has, donated to our parks before, but I would think it would be, couldn't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
And it always helps to have something specific that you're asking for. So if we could identify something.
Yeah.
I did bring a couple magazines. As we get magazines, I'll keep
Oh,
bringing them
great.
I'll keep bringing them to the board members. You can pass them around or
Yeah.
anything, but you have the websites.
And the other thing too, just in not specific to these websites or these particular companies that you recommended to us, but looking there's a lot of a new trend in playgrounds and in parks is naturalization, doing things natural. And I can send you some pictures of, and it's just like tree stumps and logs that we could intersperse throughout our parks. They don't necessarily have to be in the playground area, but they could be in other pieces of the park that are just little diversions. I'd have to show you, send pictures. But as we're cutting maybe big trees, we might be able to repurpose some of them into natural play areas. I'd have to, I'll be happy to send pictures of what I'm talking about. But
Maybe.
that's something that we could,
Maybe down at the fitness trail or something like that.
right. Could be there. It could be in all three of them. There's also some very cool slides that we have great hills in at least two of our parks that potentially I could also add those in. That could be for, again, all ages, adults even, but they're really long. They're on the ground slides. They're not slides that they're very cool. So that also could be something, maybe not this particular round, but in the future to say, okay, as we're developing things or changing some things, I have some cool things I think we could add to make our parks a little bit different.
Yeah, I think we should probably think about that. We might want to have, I often wonder if it would be helpful if we would have a meeting up at the park sometime, and and maybe even do a walk around, kind of look around. It'd be nice if we could have, if we had one of these, if they had a representative from any of these places could show us some things that they would recommend or anything like that. But I like that idea, and I'd like to. But the rest of you, but I think it'd just be kind of fun to be up at a park sometimes too. Break out and do something a little different. Yeah. Yeah, I like the way these, I have to admit, there's something about the way so many of these hang together, there's something that's very inviting about the way things, when you plan them out and have a whole. Now, I'm sure that's more expensive, but.
Yeah, they're all modular. You can buy mix and match pieces. There's like modules you can buy and they almost all hook together.
Yeah. That looks very inviting to me.
Are we talking about large pieces of equipment or could it be small pieces?
I'm thinking about just I'm talking about an aesthetic look of things, how they look, how the pieces all look together, that kind of thing. Like that. Now, I know ours have been assembled over, kind of, assembled over decades even. So that makes it more challenging. But so anyway. Okay.
You're more than welcome to take them books with you.
I'm sorry, what?
You can take those books and manuals with you.
Oh,
Yeah, they don't need to stay here.
why don't we, I'll see who, I mean, Diane, you certainly are the most outspoken about this. If you
Well, I
wanna
go to
take
a
this-
lot of
Well,
parks with my grandkids.
If you want to take these with you
Sure.
first, I'd offer to let you take them first, and then, we could all share them, or we could take turns too. That's the other thing.
So
So
what kind of money are you talking about? A lot, little?
Oh, some of them can get up into
No,
the,
they get really expensive, but budget wise.
oh, I didn't budget anything this year yet.
Okay. so-
That's why I said, let's start talking
We're
about
talking
next year's. Yep. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's
Oh, easily, we're talking
We're the
20.
ones
Oh, they can go anywhere from
5.
20 to
Oh,
40,000
to
dollars.
40,000, yeah,
What are we
easily.
talking about?
yeah. And I guess one of the things about that is it's if we want to try and convince the supervisors to pay $40,000, we better have a great sales pitch, right?
Which park are these to go to? Floating Park or is it
I
just-
think we ought to.
which park are they to go to?
Well, this would be for Flory because
Right.
that's the one that has to get replaced. It's at the end of their life cycle. The one.
Yeah, I reported about 3 years ago, that Flory Park had about 3 to 5 more years of safeness, is that a word?
It's beat.
Safety, yeah, it's safety.
I guess, yeah, what I'm just saying, I mean, the one good thing is, what I'm looking at is, I think we have the opportunity to raise our sights a little bit,
Mhm.
do something a little different. And the one thing is, Frank, I guess what I'd say is, yeah, hey, we may be talking about Floyd Park now, but we'll ultimately want to address that in other parks too. So, okay. Great. Bringing that up. Any other old business? New business? Public comment. Do you have any other comments from anyone?
I don't have any unless Mr. Kaiser has any.
It's not on mute, so.
Okay.
Mr. Kaiser, we cannot hear you.
I thought it was.
Yeah. Might have to turn his,
No, he's on mute.
turn the audio on sometimes. Take it off. Mute. Still can't hear anything. All right.
Mr. Kaiser, do you want to try using the chat?
It says he's connected.
Not unprecedented. No. Okay. All right.
Can't connect to the audio.
Let's see if he can get connected.
Yeah, it's not connecting to the audio.
Yeah, I think that probably not. Is he still there?
He's.
Yeah,
it
it's
says
trying to
that he-
connect.
At the bottom, you see a little thing jumping. Bottom left.
You have better eyes than I do, Chris.
I just got my new glasses. So
What?
I just got my new glasses. So I can see it. Cracking right away too. Third pair of lenses that cracked.
And this is through Zoom, right?
It is.
Yeah. I mean, one thing you do have to do sometimes when you go onto Zoom, it's set up that you're
Right,
on
test.
mute when you join the conference.
Yeah, I asked him to unmute, so we'll see if he's able to join.
And it also might be, his computer might have the settings off to audio settings.
I did already on Zoom. You're talking, then it goes out.
Hello?
Hey,
Hello.
there he
are.
is.
There you are.
It takes me a long time to figure anything out how to work. Actually, I went all the way back and started over again with a different line, so I don't know if it was the phone number I picked. So, of course, those who in the meeting who know me know that I live alongside of the new park. and the Mill Race and the Mill Creek. So obviously I talked with Hutch. I'm curious about the plans with us looking to sell our house. What thoughts might be on any kind of timeline for the Mill Race especially?
I wondered, Hutch, if you could address that.
Brad and I have already talked about that. So
We have, and I thought I would, we have, and I thought I would zoom in on the board meeting and just try to, I had a party here today that's just, they're not anxious, they're just curious, and I can't, Joel drives by all the time, the Mill Race with no water in it. It's worse, I mean, it's not too pretty anyhow, but it's worse with no water in it. So it just gives me a big gorge in the back of my property.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll know a lot when we we have budgeted for the engineering study, right?
Right, and we've had one meeting with the engineer to sort of get him started on looking at various options for design. We're supposed to have another meeting with him in March.
Okay.
So there's no particular plan at this point. Troy has been, after having conversations with Mr. Knoll, has been adjusting the level of the water in the Mill Race and the amount that's going through the mill as a result. There is still water moving.
That's correct. So that's the plan, is to just keep a minimal amount of water. I mean, like I said, I'm not really sure what everybody asked. I said it used to be full of water. That's all I can answer them.
Well, definitely, the prior owner, for whatever reason, enjoyed having a lot of water going through the mill. Again, after talking with Mr. Knoll about maintenance of the property and things, felt that, this was probably a better approach. And we monitor storms, so if there is a storm that's coming, it'll be adjusted as well for that.
That would seem like the major consideration to make sure you don't get something doesn't get
Okay.
out.
So when talking with the engineers, I'm focused on the Mill Race primarily because that affects the property that I currently own. So with that continuing, are the engineers feeling that the water is going to continue to run indefinitely, or we have you're not anywhere near far enough to know that?
Yeah, and really what the engineer is going to be working on at this point is just park facility design. It doesn't really have anything to do with what would happen with the dam or the Mill Race.
Brad, I could add one thing. Mr. Knoll did suggest we keep water at a minimum flowing through the Mill Race due to the wood flooring in the building. That's keeping the wood soaked and won't let it dry out to make it unsafe. So at this point, there is water flowing. We at this point, we're not closing it off at this point.
All right. Well, I expect if that's the case, then I am going to, for the most part, tell the people, as far as we know, there will continue to be water. The amounts they'll have to talk with the township. And I think that's a fair assumption. Is that correct?
Yes, I think that's correct, Brad.
Yeah.
All right. So very good. As I said, it's just an ugly gorge. So hopefully you can do something with it in the near future. So thank you. Have a great evening.
All right.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you for coming.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. Anything else?
I have no other public comment.
All right. So does anyone have anything else they want to bring up? All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
I will second that.